Today we've got, in terms of longevity of playing in a Springbok shirt, possibly two of the greatest players, two of the greatest captains as well, number 52 and number 54, Victor Matfield and Jean de Villiers. Welcome. Thank you so much for the time, boys.
Nice being here.
Thanks, OG. Spill the tea with Vic and me.
Yeah, do you drink tea?
I do.
Yeah.
Tequila.
Yes.
And Long Island iced tea.
And Long Island iced tea. Well, listen, I've ordered for you guys because I knew you would say that. So just bear with me and then I'll bring them out. But firstly, Vic, I mean, what does it take to be able to be in a Springbok jersey for that length of time?
Yeah, I think firstly you dream of playing for the Springboks. Just to play that first one is very special. And then I think you must love the game. If you love the game, you will put in the extra work. You will put in extra hours. You will give up other things that you have to give up to be able to play for that long. But I enjoyed every minute playing rugby, and playing for the Springboks, of course, is the ultimate. And yeah, it's a great bunch of guys playing together as well. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, growing up in Paarl, I'm sure that for you as well was a dream to put on the green and gold growing up.
Yeah, it was. I always say that I think since I can remember, rugby's always been part of it. So, all my memories going back, childhood, growing up, rugby was always there, a rugby ball on the photos or whatever. So, I very much grew up in a rugby house. So my dad played for Western Province as well and was kind of involved with the administration. So it was always there and thereabouts. So rugby really is such a big part of who I am, and absolutely love the game. Vic mentioned it as well, and I think you asked a question about longevity, and it does stem from a foundation of love for the game. I only retired from rugby once.
I had to come back. I missed it.
You loved it.
And yeah, everyone went past me with the amount of test matches. I thought, let me just come back for 2 more years.
But through the injuries, and I think in Vic's case, maybe the fact that you thought I still have more to offer, and I just enjoyed it so much, brought him back. And for me, it was kind of, people ask all the injuries that you had, what did it take to come back? And I think it stems from a foundation of love for the game. I just really enjoyed playing rugby so much, even though it was painful and the injuries. You come back because you want to share in the moments, you want to do what you love, and you want to do it with your friends. So I think we had a very cool group throughout our careers, and to this day still so many guys that's part of your friendship group. As they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And for us as a group, it's more the memories that we had on and off the field that we remember on the journey.
The off the field are really cool as well. And I think what I've seen, especially with you guys in those settings as well, is when you guys do get to meet up, you guys light up and get to, regroup and gather those friendships again.
Yeah, I think, if you talk about, let's say, the shootout, where some of the old players get together, it's funny, it's almost always most of the guys getting together is the 2007 rugby guys. Just love spending time together. There's no issues in that group of guys. We were inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think, a year ago. And of the 30 guys, there was 29 guys, if I'm right. I think 1 or 2 guys weren't there. And we just had a great time getting together, picking up on some of the old stories, what we went through on and off the pitch, and even with the families. The wives like each other, the kids know each other, they grew up together. So it's really a big, happy family.
Yeah, you guys were, we know what 95 did for rugby in this country, and then for a long time nothing happened, and you guys were that first group to bring back the World Cup. What was it like to be crowned champions in 07?
Yeah, there was, look, for me, again, from a personal point of view, it's kind of, mixed emotions, because I got injured, and I think I was there and celebrated as if I scored the winning try in the final, and that was cool. But it's so cool to be part of that group. But mine is a little bit different, I think, too. to some of the other guys, but still to see the effect that you have on people in South Africa when our Tambo, the way that it was, just packed. You take that trophy through the country, and obviously with social media now, I think people are way more aware of what actually happens, and even if you can't be there, you see it visually. It wasn't like that back then, but I mean, you are absolutely blown away by the impact that you have on people's lives purely because you chase an oval ball around. And that's powerful. I think whether it be luck or whether it be fate or whatever, but the rugby and the evolution of South Africa it's synonymous with each other. The impact that rugby has had in terms of the South Africa that we have today. And then you look at the rugby team in itself and look at where we were in 95 and then 07 and now this current team, and suddenly it's so representative of South Africa. And I think when you put that jersey on, you realize the responsibility that goes with it. It's not just scoring more points than the opposition. It's so much bigger than that.
Absolutely. I want to take you guys back. To play over 100 tests, you obviously played against some of the greatest rugby players in the history of the game. So I want to know some of the cool jersey swaps that you guys had over the years. So we've asked you to bring 3 of your favorites. I know you probably got 100, but three will be.
I don't have 100. I brought 5 because I couldn't.
You couldn't decide.
Yeah, and I think all 5 of them are pretty special. But what I didn't bring, and that's actually my best collection. So I actually put some time into eventually if you play over 100 test matches, it's you have a lot of value there, assets that you can actually that's got value. And I think randomly initially, then you just swap jerseys with whoever, and then later on you realize that it's a very valuable item. And what I then started to do, I started swapping jerseys with my teammates. Yeah. So I've got a collection of 1 to 15 of Springbok rugby jerseys, and now I've even gone. So I've got Osti Rand, John Smith, CJ, Bucky's Victor. I've got Eben Etzebeth as well. I've got Skulk, Juan Smith, Pierce Peace. I think Dwayne Vermeulen as well. Farida Priya, Butch James, Brian Abena, Brighton, Jacques Fourie, Percy Montgomery, and a couple of the other new guys as well. So I mean, you take it to having those. I mean, that's an extremely valuable collection, and which each guy signed as well. And that's actually the swaps and the collection that I'm proudest of. But the others are pretty valuable as well.
Cool, Vic. What we're going to do, I'll let you guys go one by one, right?
Okay.
So maybe
give us 5. So
how many did you bring?
Yeah, since you got 5, you can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start with this one. So again, I think for me, rugby is very much about being competitive on the field, and obviously you play against some amazing guys. But then more so in the professional era, you get the opportunity to get to know other guys and play overseas for other teams as well, and get to know guys that you probably played against a lot. Now suddenly they're on your team and they become your teammates and you become friends. So this is one that stands out for me. So it's an England shirt, number 12, and it's Manu Tuilagi's shirt. So obviously we played a couple of games against each other. And I played, against his brothers as well.
Oh, yeah.
And always quite a daunting task playing them. But then when I went to Leicester Tigers, even though I only played 2 games for them, we played together in the midfield in those 2 games that I played. We were the centre pairing, and we became friends. So I followed his career also ever since then, and what he has achieved for the England team. So I think a fantastic rugby player, such a rich. From a tradition and history point of view, family also, for Samoa and England now, and now also for France with Henry's son playing there. That's my first one, Manu Tuilagi, and this game was the 23rd of June. I think this is my first test match as captain for South Africa as well.
That's cool. That's really cool. Over to you, Vic.
So I'll stay with England.
Yeah.
So Ben K, number 5. World Cup 2007. Yeah, very special jersey. And again, Ben Kay, one of those guys, when I just started playing for England, him and Martin Johnson was also the lock combination for England that's won the World Cup. And I mean, when we started playing them, remember coming back from that first tour with Jake. Don't know if you remember Jake said it looked like kids against men when we ran out against them. So got a bit schooled by them, and then I think we turned things around, did very well against them late on. I don't think we've lost ever again after 2006 ever again against them. So but a guy I respected a lot on and off the field. Of course, final very special for us as a group. So yeah, very special jersey that you can play in the final, and you can have the jersey of the opposition player as well. And he's won the World Cup as well in 2003, so it's very special.
That's awesome. Second one, JDV.
Very cool. And on the trend as well of guys that I played against and with, he's not always everyone's cup of tea, but it's, as you can see there, Ronan O'Gara, it's his 93rd Test cap. This one actually was on the bench, and so was I for this game, because it was in 09 when I was playing for Munster at the time, and we weren't selecting players from overseas, but the box had quite a few injuries, and I was just down the road. So luckily I got a call up, and I was on the bench for that game, and Rog was on the bench for the opposition. So yeah, the week prior to that we were playing together, and then we were playing against each other. We said no, definitely need to swap shirts. So he's been extremely successful as a coach now as well, and I think he's done so well. But yeah, a guy that I from day one really enjoyed spending time with at Munster, and that was post the British and Irish Lions series that that we played against each other as well. So yeah, great shirt for me as well. Met up with him when they were down in Cape Town now again, and that's the beauty of rugby.
Awesome. Second one for you, Vic.
Okay, second one for me is also really special. You always get asked the question, who's the toughest opponent? So there's probably three guys that stands out in my career in the number 5 jersey. Ali Williams from the All Blacks, played a lot of test matches against him. Paul O'Connell from Ireland, that's really a tough guy to play against him, I think, especially when it came to the line out. But I think this was probably my toughest opponent throughout my career. I played under 21s against him, and then my whole Springbok career, number 5, Nathan Sharp. And this is in my 100th game at Loftus. And I didn't swap jerseys with him. He came afterwards, he came to the change room and he gave his shirt to me and said, listen, it was an honor for him to play against me. And I mean, that game was just a tough game, because up till that stage, not one of the players that has played in their 100th game has won the game. So we started off, we were behind at halftime, and yeah, luckily we turned it around, we won that game. And a very special moment for me to also play my 100th game at Loftus with your family being there. And I mean, playing against the guy that was probably the toughest guy to play in my whole career, and a guy I really looked up to as a captain as well. I think a fantastic guy off the field as well. So yeah, this is also a really special jersey for me.
Awesome.
I'm
The
going
countdown continues.
I'm
Let's
going
go,
to
Jean.
take. I'm going to take 2 jerseys now to add on to what Vic was saying there with his jersey. So the first one is actually exactly that, Paul O'Connell's jersey. You know, again, he was my captain at Munster, and you know, we became friends. Also a guy that I think is doing really well as one of the Ireland coaches, and big influence, in my opinion, in the way that they've been able to turn around and the quality rugby that they are playing. So again, this game, you know, played against each other. We were the captains, and then swapped shirts. So a special one. Again, a friend, but also a great competitor. And this one also on the back of 100 Test match. So Ma Nonu played over 100 Test matches for the All Blacks, and in my 100 Test match as well, same thing. And actually what happened there, so he was an incredible player, and I suppose over the years when you play each other so many times, there's a level of respect, and you kind of become a little bit more friendly off the field. whenever anyone would say also who's the best player I ever played against, it would be him, but also the human being, because in this game he actually broke his arm just before half time. And he went off the field and obviously didn't come back after half time, went off to the hospital and whatever. But when I got back into the change room and in my locker, his jersey was hanging there. So even though he was off to the hospital and whatever, he had the time to put the jersey there. And I think that speaks volumes about not just the player, but about the human being. So put a lot of value on that.
Manonu.
Okay, so my last one I actually didn't have. I had another jersey.
Yeah.
So the one I put back in the cupboard, I actually had the Japan jersey at the World Cup 2015.
That game.
It was one of our worst days in our lives, but I think for rugby worldwide, it was a really special day, just to show anything can happen. And again, for us as a group, okay, both of us actually got injured, but as a group, how we got back from that and almost got to the final, only lost with 2 points in the semi-final. So that's a special jersey, and I think in the long run, that jersey might become worth quite a bit, very valuable. But the one, I took it back, and I actually brought, not a jersey that I swapped, but one of the jerseys that I played in, and that's not a Springbok or a Bulls jersey, but this is the Barbarians game in 2009. So there's only been 2 Barbarians teams that's beaten the All Blacks, and I was fortunate enough to captain the Barbarians on this day in 2009. And John spoke about people you swap jerseys with, playing with guys overseas, but I mean, this was a special team, and the players that we played with.
Who were some of the guys in the team?
Oh, some of the guys. Okay, so we a lot of South Africans. So Beast played, Bismarck played, myself, Skalky played, Brian played, Fourie played, but then there was Gitau, Jamie Roberts was 12. Which other forwards were there? I think George Smith played. So it was just a fantastic team. It was almost a world team without the All Blacks guys. And I mean, we didn't train a lot. I think we had 2 training sessions. Nick Mallet was the coach. Drew Mitchell played on the wing. There was a story, Nick Mallet telling him, "You're a fantastic player. The only thing is just catch the ball first. Once you catch the ball, you're brilliant. First high kick, he goes up, he doesn't touch the ball." But he turned it around. And I mean, to go out with only 1 training session and to beat the All Blacks is really special. And I think the Barbarian stands for something, and that's something that you only get in rugby. It's guys, you go at each other on the field, but once you get off the field or once you play in a different environment with each other, it just shows the camaraderie between the players as well.
Absolutely, at international level. Okay, JDV.
Yeah, last
Your
one.
last one?
The and again, I think it's it is the beauty of rugby. Vic spoke about the Barbarians and what that stands for, and it brings elements of the amateur era into the professional era as well. It gives you opportunities to play against so many guys that you play against, and I think that really is the beauty of rugby, is the respect that is there, and also the the rivalries that gets created, and that's what brings me to this. The 2 most successful teams in world rugby, when it comes to World Cups and all of that, and the rivalry between the All Blacks and South Africa is just immense. So, when I became captain, and this was actually the last time I played against the All Blacks on South African soil in 2014 as captain, and was then, showing
off now, huh?
Swapped with Richie as the opposite captain, and I think in terms of this, it's obviously he was an amazing rugby player and World Player of the Year on numerous occasions, but he represents a lot of what the All Blacks stands for, and that's why it's special to me, because I hold that rivalry extremely dearly and close to my heart, and this kind of represents that as well. So long may it live, the rivalry that we have, and obviously this year we have some tough test matches lying ahead between these two teams, but a pretty cool collection, and fortunate to have that.